Now, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar, we gotta talk facts because things just got wild. From cupcake Drake fans to the ones still clinging to Nicki and that MTTBTF nonsense, every one of their fan bases is losing their minds. They don't want the truth out there. They don't want you hearing how the real king of rap is out here lapping their favorites like it's nothing. So yeah, go ahead, hit that like, hit subscribe, because once we dive into this, it's about to get loud. And I mean it. Today we're not just talking, we're celebrating. Because what Kendrick just pulled off in the last 24 hours has the whole rap world in shock. The haters, they're fuming. The jealous rappers, probably smashing their phones. This man didn't just do something great. He did two massive things back to back that prove he's sitting on top of the mountain, and nobody else is even close. He's the one writing history while the rest are still trying to spell it. So yeah, all those salty fans who keep crying on social media, calling him overrated or washed, are about to eat their words. Because Kendrick didn't just win, he owned the entire game. His latest 24 hours, pure domination. And let's be real, the Kendrick deniers, that's exactly what they are so desperate, they're now planting fake headlines near his tour stops just to twist the story. They're spreading straight-up misleading trash because deep down, they can't handle the truth that Kendrick Lamar is untouchable right now. Brace yourselves, because this isn't just another win, it's a message. Kendrick's era isn't ending, it's exploding louder than ever. So now that the rumors are flying about how many tickets are being sold and what's really happening with these massive venues, let's clear the air. The stan mob is fuming again. So go ahead and hit that like button because we're gonna need every bit of support to keep the truth alive. Every time we talk about Kendrick, more people wake up, and that drives the haters crazy. Now let's get into what really went down, because Kendrick Lamar just hit a monumental milestone on the third leg of his Grand National Tour, performing at none other than the Estadio River in Argentina. And if you know, you know. That's not just a stadium, that's a coliseum. This was the third show on this leg, and honestly, it might have been the most high-stakes performance of his entire career so far. We're talking about a place that can hold up to 85,000 people, all packed in and screaming his name, while the industry waits for him to slip up. The pressure was insane. Every single seat filled, every camera pointed at him, every hater hoping to catch the slightest flaw. But Kendrick didn't just show up, he showed out. He turned that entire arena into a living, breathing piece of history. Think about it. This is a venue most rappers wouldn't even dare to book, let alone fill. Some of them pretend they don't want to go that big, but really, they're terrified nobody would show up. And yet, there's Kendrick Lamar standing center stage, proving he's not just another performer. He's a once-in-a-generation artist commanding crowds that look like entire cities. And of course, right on cue, the OVO and Drake crowd tried to spin it. They were online, scrambling before the show even began, trying to twist it as a flop. They were terrified this would turn into another DMX at Woodstock kind of moment. Legendary, unstoppable, unforgettable. They didn't want to see history repeat itself, but it did, because Kendrick pulled it off again. So yeah, while the haters plot and the stans whine, the reality is simple. Kendrick Lamar just did what every rapper dreams of doing, and most never even attempt. Another show, another record, another moment they'll pretend didn't happen because it hurts too much to admit. They're watching greatness unfold right in front of them. They really tried to twist the truth and flip the story, acting like this wasn't a sellout show when it absolutely was. No matter how they try to spin it, the facts don't lie. We'll dig into the receipts later, but let's just say the ones calling this a flop are the same fans supporting artists who've completely sold out their morals and are now trapped in the worst positions of their careers. It's about to get ugly, and not for Kendrick, but for them. Because let's keep it real. This Argentina show, it wasn't just a success, it was a statement. Kendrick Lamar just gave a masterclass in how to command an entire nation's attention. The energy, the visuals, the sound, it all screamed legend status. Every second of that night made it clear that this wasn't just another stop on a tour. This was history being made in real time. Now let's talk numbers, because this is where it gets insane. The Estadio River, when fully packed for a soccer game, holds 85,000 people, and that's official. But for concerts, especially ones like this, things get even crazier. With an open floor setup and fewer restrictions compared to the US shows, even more people can pack in on the ground level. So what we're seeing here is a sea of bodies. Tens of thousands standing, jumping, screaming every lyric back to him. It looked less like a concert and more like a cultural explosion. You could feel it. This wasn't just a crowd, it was an army united for one reason: Kendrick Lamar. Every corner of that stadium was alive, from the nosebleeds to the front rail. The lights, the chants, the raw emotion. It all built a moment that dwarfed anything we saw during the first leg of the tour. And that's the truth that the haters can't handle. They can keep writing their little think pieces, keep denying the numbers, but this show was proof that Kendrick's reign isn't slowing down. It's growing stronger than ever. Let's get this straight, because the lies flying around are getting ridiculous. Some people are seriously out here saying the upper sections of Kendrick's shows were closed because of low demand. Like, are you kidding me? We're talking about Kendrick Lamar, the same man pulling crowds that most rappers could only dream about. The same artist filling entire stadiums, and somehow they want us to believe he suddenly couldn't sell tickets? Please, here's what's actually happening. When you've got a massive venue like the Estadio River, with tens of thousands on the floor, they move the upper bowl seating down. Not because they're empty, but because they want the entire crowd closer to the stage. It's about creating that electric, up-close energy where everyone feels part of the same storm. Nobody's shutting down seats due to lack of demand. They're opening up the floor to pack even more people in. You can literally see it. Look at the footage, look at the screens. Every inch of that stadium is alive. Everyone wants to be part of it. And yet, these desperate stands keep trying to play gotcha with camera angles and crop photos, pointing at tiny sections that were never even open to begin with. It's laughable. And here's the kicker. We knew this was coming. From the start of the tour, it was obvious this was going to be the only weapon they had left. Fake narratives, zoomed-in screenshots, and delusional takes about empty seats that don't even exist. They're scrambling to find something, anything, to throw at Kendrick's flawless tour record, but it's falling apart just like their logic. So let's call it what it is: embarrassing. Plain and simple. The only thing these haters are proving is how far they'll go to deny greatness. They're not exposing Kendrick. They're exposing their own obsession. The man is packing stadiums like he's leading a movement, and they're still pretending not to see it. Stop lying, stop reaching, because the receipts are right there on the screen for everyone to see. Now that we've broken down how basic touring, ticket sales, and seat distribution actually work, because apparently that's what it takes to shut down the nonsense these haters keep pushing, let's finally talk about the show itself. Because when you look at the sheer amount of people moving for Kendrick Lamar, it's unreal. It's like watching prime Michael Jackson energy all over again. Crowds swaying, screaming, and losing their minds for every verse. Seriously, stop playing with this man's name. Find me one rapper alive who can pull even half of a crowd that looks like this. You can't. With every new stop on the Grand National Tour, Kendrick isn't just performing, he's building a global movement. Every city, every country, the excitement grows louder, the crowds grow bigger, and the energy just keeps exploding. People aren't just attending, they're witnessing a cultural event unfold right in front of them. And when you see moments like this one, thousands jumping to Family Ties while Kendrick casually drops a freestyle, you realize this is something special. This isn't just a concert, it's the pinnacle of hip-hop performance. It's the standard of what it means to be a true lyrical warrior in an era filled with studio rappers who couldn't command a live audience if they tried. The vibe? Legendary. The stage presence? Untouchable. Kendrick Lamar isn't just putting on shows, he's rewriting what it means to be a superstar. The GNX tour feels like a modern-day thriller run, a once-in-a-lifetime streak that shows hip-hop's global power when it's led by someone who actually stands for something real. And let's be clear, every night on this tour is another reminder that Kendrick Lamar isn't just the biggest rapper in the world right now. He's bigger than Prime Drake ever was. The numbers prove it, the passion proves it, and the energy doesn't lie. So while the fakes keep posting cropped photos and cooked-up theories, Kendrick's out here giving the world the kind of tour we'll be talking about for decades. Every performance, every freestyle, every chant. It all screams one truth. This is what greatness looks like. And speaking of being bigger and more impactful than Prime Drake, this next part seals it. On the same day Kendrick tore the roof off that stadium, something else dropped that made the comparison between him and Drake look like night and day. Because while Drake's been known as the hit machine, the chart king, the numbers guy, Kendrick Lamar just reminded everyone that impact will always outshine statistics. Here's what's wild. Drake has built his image on hits, stream counts, charts, and plaques. But even with all that, Kendrick's achievements are starting to eclipse everything he's ever done. And get this, Kendrick doesn't even care enough to update his own certifications. That's right. Tracks like Humble and All the Stars are already diamond-level classics, and he hasn't even bothered to file the paperwork to brag about it. He's too busy making history to count trophies. But it gets crazier. Not Like Us, which dropped just over a year ago, has already crossed over 10 million sales. 10 million copies. That's without endless remixes, without algorithmic boosts, and without the gimmicks the rest of these rappers rely on. Kendrick's not just competing in the industry game, he's rewriting it, and he's doing it while acting like he doesn't even care. This man doesn't play industry politics. He doesn't chase awards, post sales updates, or brag about streaming stats. He simply delivers quality, album after album, show after show, and lets the world decide. And the world has spoken loud and clear. Kendrick Lamar is him. Every bar, every verse, every record adds another layer to his legacy, while others scramble to stay relevant with filler tracks and TikTok hooks. Let's be honest, if I were any other rapper watching this happen, I'd be sweating. Because when the guy who doesn't even care about numbers is still pulling numbers bigger than the self-proclaimed chart champ, that's the end of the argument. And that brings us to the real point. Kendrick Lamar just received one of the biggest honors a rapper could ever earn. This isn't just about sales or streams, it's about standing above your peers, about earning respect from an entire generation, about solidifying your place in hip-hop history. While the others are playing for stats, Kendrick's playing for legacy. And that's a game nobody else is built to win. And what makes this even crazier is that Kendrick did it the right way. No shortcuts, no industry tricks, just pure greatness that stood the test of time. Because even before he updates his certifications for Humble, Not Like Us, or All the Stars, which will probably break more records when he finally does, the numbers we already have are unbelievable. For anyone who doesn't know how this works, let me explain. To officially get those plaques, gold, platinum, diamond, you have to pay the RIAA to audit your numbers. They go through the data, confirm the sales and streams, then certify it. Most artists rush to do this because they want that shine. But Kendrick, he hasn't bothered in years. And still, despite not even playing the numbers game, he just secured the best-selling rap song of all time, a 17 times platinum record. The song? Goosebumps, his legendary collaboration with Travis Scott from 2016, 17 times platinum. Let that sink in. This one record just stomped over Drake's God's Plan, officially taking its place as the biggest rap song ever. And it's wild because Drake updates his certifications constantly. He lives for those plaques, but Kendrick and Travis barely lift a finger and still surpass him. Now think about this. Kendrick's songs like Humble and Not Like Us haven't even been recertified yet, and both are already diamond status on their own. When he finally decides to update them, those records might blow right past Goosebumps too. We're talking about a man who's casually sitting on historic stats while acting like they don't even matter to him. That's what true dominance looks like. And what's even funnier, Drake has been chasing these kinds of moments his whole career. He's collaborated with Travis Scott too, trying to capture that same lightning in a bottle with songs like Sicko Mode. And yeah, sure, that song was huge. It had the entire culture in a chokehold for a minute. But it didn't last. It was a moment, not a legacy. Meanwhile, Goosebumps became timeless. 8 years later, it's still charting, still growing, still connecting with new fans around the world. It's not just a song, it's a cultural bridge. It's the perfect example of how hip-hop has become a universal language, blending Kendrick's lyrical genius with Travis's otherworldly production to create something that transcends time and geography. And when you really look at it, this moment shows the truth about hip-hop longevity. God's Plan, Sicko Mode, even other huge Drake songs. They were fire when they dropped, sure. But in 2025, how often do you still hear them in rotation? Not much. They were made for the moment, not for history. But Goosebumps? It still gives people chills when it plays. No pun intended. That's the difference right there. Kendrick makes forever music. Songs that still hit years later, songs that grow with time. While Drake's catalog keeps fading in and out of conversation, Kendrick's keeps getting louder. The numbers, the legacy, the reach, everything about this screams one simple truth. Real artistry outlives hype every single time. So yeah, seeing Goosebumps crowned as the best-selling rap song of all time is poetic. It's a full-circle moment that proves quality always wins. And if Humble or Not Like Us ever get recertified, Drake might want to stop checking the charts altogether, because the king just keeps raising the bar higher than anyone imagined. And building off that last point, Kendrick getting this record is so revealing. It shows just how powerful his name really is and how effortlessly he turns every track he touches into pure magic. There are artists who make hits, and then there's Kendrick Lamar. He creates moments that feel like lightning in a bottle. When you look at how massive Goosebumps has become, it's clear that Kendrick doesn't just jump on songs. He elevates them beyond what anyone expects. And here's the part that's both hilarious and so Kendrick. He's now the owner of the biggest rap song of all time by the numbers. And he's not even performing it on the GNX tour. That's insane. Most artists would make that their closer, their main highlight, but not Kendrick. The man's catalog is so deep, so iconic, that he can leave his biggest global hit sitting on the bench while the rest of his set list still shakes stadiums to the core. That's not just talent, that's dominance. It's a reminder of how wide his reach goes. From introspective masterpieces like To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn, to stadium anthems that make entire crowds erupt. His range is unmatched, and it's wild to realize that even when he's not trying to break records, he still does. So yeah, huge congrats to Kendrick Lamar for pulling off another win without lifting a finger. He's leveling up while staying completely true to himself, proving once again why he's the standard everyone else is chasing. And of course, props to Travis Scott too, because whether people like it or not, Goosebumps wouldn't be the same without both of them feeding off each other's energy. It's a track that aged like fine wine, still blasting everywhere years later, still unstoppable. Now, I do want to clear something up for longtime viewers, especially the ones who've been thinking I flipped on Travis recently. Yeah, I've been critical this year, no lies there. Between Pusha T's diss and that underwhelming Jack Boys 2 release, I haven't exactly been singing his praises. But that doesn't erase what he's capable of when he's locked in. Because let's be honest, Travis Scott might have had a rough patch in 2025, but moments like Goosebumps prove he still has the power to create magic when the chemistry's right. And teaming up with Kendrick, that was lightning striking twice. Once in 2016, and still glowing bright today. So while I might not vibe with Travis's latest moves, I'll always give credit where it's due. He and Kendrick made something timeless together, and that's bigger than any year's drama or disappointment. And for the people who are waiting to have their little gotcha moment, thinking I only turned on Travis because Pusha T dissed him, let me clear that up right now. That's not the case. And I'll say this loud and clear. Two things can be true about Travis Scott at the same time. On one hand, Pusha T was absolutely right when he called him out for being a team switcher and a fake friend. That's not hate, that's just facts. And look, let's keep it real. There was a time when the entire rap scene was running on fumes. The bar was low, creativity was flatlining, and most of what came out felt like fast food music. The culture had gotten so watered down that we just started accepting mediocrity because there wasn't much else to choose from. You had projects like For All the Dogs and Utopia running the charts. But when you look deeper, the artistry felt more like production than passion. So yeah, back then, some stuff that should have been called out got a pass because everyone was hungry for something even halfway good. But now that we're looking at things with clearer eyes in 2025, we can admit what's what. And my stance on Travis hasn't changed. It's just matured. Here's the truth. From Rodeo to Utopia, Travis Scott delivered one of the best album runs we've seen from any rap artist in the last decade. Sonically, visually, atmospherically, those projects were incredible. But here's where it gets tricky. Because while the albums are top tier, Travis himself as a rapper, he's not. In fact, when the dust settles, he might go down as one of the worst rappers ever, with one of the best discographies of his era. And that's not an insult, it's a reality. His projects shine because of the team behind them, the elite producers, mentors, and creative minds who helped sculpt his sound. You can thank legends like Pharrell, T.I., and Mike Dean for helping craft that otherworldly atmosphere we all fell in love with. Travis was the face, sure, but the foundation was built by some of the greatest in the game. So when I critique him, it's not hate, it's honesty. You can respect the art while still calling out the artist's flaws. Because Travis might not be a lyrical force or a storytelling genius, but he is a master of vibe, presentation, and experience. And that's why people still remember those albums, even if the man himself has started to fade a little. At the end of the day, two things can coexist. Travis Scott can be a weak rapper and still have one of the most impressive runs of music from the 2010s into the 2020s. And recognizing that balance, that's what keeps the conversation real. And let's not forget about Mike Dean, because that man deserves a shout out too. If we're talking about the real architects behind Travis Scott's sound, Dean stands at the top like the final boss. We're talking about the same guy who helped shape Graduation, who built entire soundscapes for Travis, and who, let's be honest, crafted some of those songs originally for himself. But when he didn't use them, he passed them down, and they ended up shaping Rodeo, Astro World, and Utopia. See, that's where things get interesting. When you dig through the reference tracks and the credits, you start to realize something huge. Travis's biggest projects were stitched together with heavy influence from Kanye West and Mike Dean. From Rodeo to Utopia, the fingerprints are all over it. Astro World was a masterpiece of sound design. But Utopia? That album put everything into perspective. We literally heard the Donda throwaways in there, tracks that were originally Kanye's. Dean was all over those records, shaping, tweaking, elevating them into something massive. So when people say Travis makes great music but isn't a great rapper, this is why. The production, genius level. The vibes, unmatched. But lyrically, it's the ghost of another artist carrying him. The truth is, Travis was benefiting from being surrounded by some of the most visionary producers in hip-hop history, and when that energy faded, the cracks started showing. And now, with Kanye, yeah, that guy who made 808s and Heartbreak, Donda, and a whole generation of hip-hop soundtracks, no longer rocking with Travis, it's clear where the magic came from. They're not on good terms anymore, and the proof's in the music. Jack Boys 2 showed us exactly what Travis sounds like without that guidance, and it wasn't pretty. The beats felt empty, the ideas recycled, and the spark, gone. So yeah, Travis might have been the face, but the genius behind that sound was someone else entirely. Without that influence, he's exposed, and it's becoming painfully obvious that he's running on fumes. The man's talented in presentation, sure, but when the masterminds step away, the difference is night and day. So before the next wave of chaos hits, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. You already know we're covering it all right here. I'll catch you in the next one, where things are about to get even messier.